I'm going to start off with the standard and the definitions. Certification is the process whereby an accredited certification body provides assurance that your products or your production systems conform to specified requirements. Those specified requirements could be the new Canadian standards, the old Canadian standards, the NOP, which is the National Organic Program of the USDA, or the Japanese Agricultural Standard, the OCIA standard, basically whatever it is you're being certified to. This is based on inspection, a range of inspection activities, including verification of your management practices, auditing, and in-out production balances. In-out production balances have to do with what are you bringing in to produce your stuff, what are you producing, and what are you selling. So, and this is all from the standard, so it's a little dry. Much of it is from the standard. Inspection is a really key part of organic certification. I'd say it's the key part to some extent. So it's where the process by which an inspector visits your farm, and the focus that I'm going to be talking about today is record keeping, although inspectors will look at a lot of other aspects of your operation. The inspectors, mostly inspectors in the Maritimes, act as independent contractors. There are some certification bodies where they have staff inspectors, but for the most part, we review your operation, and we assess it against the standard and then submit our findings to a certification body. We don't make decisions about whether you get approved or not. We aren't all experts in every type of agriculture, but what we do know, we should know the standard very well. And for smaller operators, inspections should take maybe around 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours sometimes if things are in order. For larger operations, it will be much longer. But generally, if you have your files in order, it's an easier process, it's a more comfortable process for all of us. When your documents are complete, the inspection moves relatively easily. If we have to stay longer or follow up with you, do calls, have the certifier follow up, it does become a longer process, a more lengthy process, and that, can increase the cost of inspection, more generally. So it's important for everybody to have things in order, and it's easier for you too as producers. So basically, we're there to act as the eyes and the ears of the certifier and submit what we see. So there have been a new standard released for Canada, a new standard and new regulations, and it's important to have a look at this and get copies if you don't have copies already. I understand there's a 2-year phase-in period, so the previous standard I would imagine will still apply for 2 years, but I think at present it is important to read the standards. I have copies here. There have been changes from the 99 standard, especially as relates to animal production. There's several new sections, and it's a good thing to use. You don't obviously have to read, the sections that don't relate to your farm. You don't have to know them in detail, but it is important to have a good overview of what the standards say specific to your operation. Ignorance is not an excuse. I'm sure inspectors go to farms and find producers who haven't, maybe haven't read the standards in years or haven't ever read the standards, and this is what you're being certified to. So it's important to have an awareness of that for your own, your own sake as well as ours. So specifically in the standard, this is from the new one, the operator of an enterprise shall prepare an organic plan outlining details of transition, if you're transitioning, production, preparation, handling, management practices, and you update this annually. So what is an organic plan? Often it's your application. You're updating that annually. You may have a more specific organic plan for your operation. And it includes a lot of different components. So again, it should be a document that evolves over time with your operation. You make changes to it every year. And it prepares you for the inspection. So all of these aspects, I'm not going to read them out because I will be going over this a bit more. But basically it describes your farm, what you grow, how you grow it, and your harvest and management practices and your sales records. So within that organic plan, you need to have a description of what kind of record keeping system you have, and you need to make sure you have documents that are sufficient to allow us to do an audit trail. In the new standard, in the introduction, and I thought this was kind of pertinent. It says, you know, apart from a small portion of commodities that are direct marketed, most organic product is going to go to consumers through trade channels that are established. You're not seeing your customer face to face for a lot of operations. And so to minimize any kind of deception, you need to, specific measures are necessary to ensure that enterprises can be effectively audited. And so it's a regulation of a process rather than a final product. It means that we all have to be responsible. Everybody involved has to take responsible action. So this record keeping should reflect what you set out in your organic plan. Record keeping, you should, this is all from the standards, so this is what we inspect to. You should maintain records and supporting documents concerning your inputs, your production, preparation and handling of crops, livestock, and organic products. And this should be sufficient to guarantee the organic integrity of the product through an audit trail. So an audit trail is basically from the product to the harvesting, the storage, and the sales. So from you to the final consumer, we should be able to audit backwards. And your system needs to be traceable, traceability, and you need to maintain your records for 5 years. So, records. This is very basic. It's just, this can be written, could be visual, or electronic. We need to be able to review them, and they need to reflect what we need in the standard.